Welcome, everyone. This is the MasterClass. My name is Patrick Nazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience, and I would like to help dispel your doubts, should you have any. Today, we will study the chapter Mrs Packletide's Tiger, written by the author Saki. Saki was the pen name of Hector Hugh Munro, who was born in 1870 in Burma and who died in 1916 in World War I. His mother had died in Burma and he was raised in Britain by his aunts. He is known for writing witty, satirical stories that make fun of the Edwardian culture and society. His stories are characterized by sharp wit, biting social commentary, and unexpected plot twists. He portrays the superficiality and the vanity of the very wealthy and privileged, and of course the hypocrisy. Other famous works of his include Tobermory, The Open Window, and The Interlopers. Have you ever bought something or asked your parents to buy something for you just because somebody else has it and you want to have something that is better than them or bigger than them maybe? This is the story of a lady called Mrs. Packletide. Mrs. Packletide decided to kill a tiger. Now, why did she decide to kill a tiger? Because she was jealous of her friend, Loona Bimberton, who had at that time taken a ride in an aeroplane. Now, this is Edwardian England. The term Edwardian means that England at that time was ruled by King Edward, and flying in an aeroplane was a very big thing. Loona Bimberton, her friend, told everyone at every opportunity of the fun that she had and what she had done during the aeroplane flight. So Mrs. Packletide decided the only way to do better than her was to go and shoot a tiger, like Nimrod, who was a very famous hunter in the Bible. In her own mind, she had already decided which papers would publish her photographs of the successful tiger hunt, the huge party that she would give upon its success, and of course, a brooch with a tiger claw inside it, specially to give Loona Bimberton. Mrs. Packletide offered a reward of 1,000 rupees if she could only find a tiger to kill. Everything fell into place. In a village in India, there was a tiger. It was old. It was so old, in fact, it couldn't hunt properly. So it had started killing the small goats and the cattle owned by the villagers. Now, hearing of this reward, the villagers saw a chance not just to earn some money, but to get rid of the tiger as well. But they needed to keep the tiger in and around the village. So they specially left goats about so that the tiger should not feel hungry. Children were sent out. They kept on shouting and pushing the tiger back towards the village if it did happen to go away from it. Mothers made their babies cry softer. They did not want anything to disturb the tiger. Anyhow, Mrs. Packletide and her companion, Mrs. Laura Mebbin, came to the village. A platform, a machan, had been built on a tree, and both these ladies sat on the platform waiting for the tiger to come. A goat had been tied underneath, which bleated in order to attract the tiger. They had a rifle with them. They had cards to play to pass the time. Mrs. Mebbin was very cautious about money. You could say that she was a miser. Wherever she went with Mrs. Packletide, she made sure she never paid more than what was required, whether it was a ruble in Moscow or a centime in France. In fact, she was just telling Mrs. Packletide that it was too expensive to give 1,000 rupees and they could have got less for it. The village headman was up in the tree, and this was said for his benefit in Hindustani. The tiger appeared. Mrs. Mebbin said, "You better shoot the tiger before he eats the goat, because if he doesn't eat the goat or he doesn't kill the goat, we won't need to pay for it." The tiger was so old that he had to take a slight rest before attacking the goat. And as he got up, Mrs. Packletide shot him. The tiger died. The villagers came out to look at the dead tiger, and celebrations began in the village. Then suddenly Mrs. Mebbin realized one thing. Mrs. Packletide had shot the goat instead of the tiger. The tiger actually died of heart failure. What was Mrs. Packletide to do? The villagers wanted 1,000 rupees, so they were prepared to say that Mrs. Packletide shot the tiger. Mrs. Mebbin, after all, was a paid employee. So Mrs. Packletide put out the news that she had shot the tiger. Her photograph was published from America in the Texas Weekly Snapshot to Russia in the Novomemia. Every illustrated paper ran that photograph of her with the tiger. Loona Bimberton hated it. She refused to look at any papers. And when the tiger claw brooch was sent to her, she was so angry, yet she composed a thank you letter. She was invited to the party that was held on the successful completion of the hunt. She did not go there because she was afraid that she would not be able to keep her emotions in check. A few days after the ball ended, the two ladies were sitting together, and Mrs. Mebbin remarked, "Wouldn't people laugh if they knew the truth? That actually you shot the goat and the tiger died of heart failure?" So Mrs. Packletide said, How would they know? In any case, why would they believe it? Mrs. Mebbin said, everybody would not believe it, but Loona Bimberton would. Remember, Loona Bimberton is the woman because of whom Mrs. Packletide had set out to kill the tiger. She was jealous and envious of her. Then, what did Mrs. Mebbin say? She just said that there was a cottage she was thinking of buying and it cost £680 and the cottage would belong to her. Mrs. Packletide paid her the money. As you can understand, it was blackmail. And now Mrs. Mebbin has got a cottage where she goes to stay during the weekends. And she has called it Les Faux, which means the beasts. A nod, not just to her predatory nature, but also to the tiger that was killed. And Mrs. Packletide, she refuses to go hunting anymore. And anybody who asks her, she tells them, that she never realized, aside from the hunt, how much money was spent was a lot, so she couldn't afford anymore. On the other hand, Mrs. Mebbin's friends look at her cottage and the tiger lilies that she has planted around it and wonder how she could manage to do such a lot on so little money. The characters in the story: Mrs. Packletide, a wealthy but vain British woman. Her every action is driven by her need to do better than her rival, Mrs. Loona Bimberton. She is ultimately superficial and status conscious and becomes a victim of her own deception. Miss Mebbin, Mrs. Packletide's companion. She is miserly with money, who is a very calculating woman and sees no harm in blackmailing her employer so that she can get what she requires. Loona Bimberton, Mrs. Packletide's social rival, who boasts so much about her airplane ride that Mrs. Packletide is forced to think about doing something in order to outshine her. She refuses to look at the illustrated papers and accepts the gift from Mrs. Packletide with concealed anger. The tiger, old, feeble, harmless, it's reduced to killing domestic animals only. It shows us how hollow Mrs. Packletide's achievement is, dying of heart failure rather than the bullet. The villagers, practical people, pragmatic people, they're cooperative. All they're looking at is the money that a dead tiger can get them. The village headman, he is there in a neighboring tree, ensuring that the hunt is completed and that they are paid their money. What are the settings of this story then? India, a poor village near the jungle where the tiger is shot. This, remember, is at the height of the British colonial occupation. Curzon Street, it's a street in London. Mrs. Packletide's address, which symbolizes the upper class British society. The jungle, the site of the staged hunt, where Mrs. Packletide waits and kills the tiger. Darkling, England, the location of the cottage which Mrs. Mebbin ultimately buys. It is the Edwardian era during the height of the British colonial rule in India. What are the literary devices used by the author? Satire. The author makes fun of Edwardian society, the superficiality, the vanity, the competition that was associated with it. Irony. All types of irony are present here. Situational irony. Mrs. Packletide shoots the goat instead of the tiger, which promptly dies of a heart attack. There is dramatic irony. We know the truth, while Mrs. Packletide enjoys her fame. The verbal, the very title itself, Mrs. Packletide's tiger, is ironic since she did not kill it. Humour. Dark comedy is woven through absurd situations and witty observations. Characterizations, through actions, through the dialogues of the characters instead of direct descriptions. Allusion, the reference to Nimrod, who is a biblical hunter. Hyperbole, the exaggerated way the villagers try to protect the tiger in order that they might earn the money that Mrs. Packletide is offering them. Foreshadowing, Mrs. Mebbin's attitude towards money tells us that she might attempt blackmail in the future. Symbolism, the tiger represents a hollow victory, which basically means nothing. The cottage, Les Fauves, represents Mrs. Mebbin's predatory attitude. What are the themes brought out in the lesson then? Vanity and rivalry. Everything that Mrs. Packletide does is simply to outshine her rival because she is jealous of what she has achieved. The superficiality of high society. Upper class values appearance and social standing over actual achievement. Greed and opportunism. Mrs. Mebbin blackmails Mrs. Packletide and reveals how everyone has a price and how people are selfish and act in their own interest. Deception and false appearances. The reality versus the public perception. Materialism. Characters are driven by money. They are driven by possessions and status rather than the authentic values. Exploitation. The villagers, Miss Mebbin, the tiger, everyone is used as tools for Mrs. Packletide's vanity. Poetic justice. Mrs. Packletide, who tries to deceive everyone, is in turn herself blackmailed. The emptiness of social competition. Victory brings only temporary satisfaction but lasting problems. That's the lesson there for you then. I do hope I have been of help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, there might be others who would require our help. Thank you so much for watching.